A step parenting expert, Chris Burns.
Women's mindset coach and stepmom, Chris Burns.
Welcome to the Step Parent Podcast. You're not their real parent, and that's exactly why you matter. Welcome to the Step Parent Podcast. Being a step parent is the most thankless, misunderstood role that you can ever step into. You're constantly doing a lot of work, holding energy, showing up when it's inconvenient, and still somehow, for a lot of people, they are the ones getting the least recognition. You feel like the extra. You feel like not the real one. And if I'm honest, I've felt all those things too. Because you tell yourself that it shouldn't matter. You tell yourself that I know my role, I'm not trying to replace anyone. But deep down, it does still sting when the world reminds you that you're not the real parent. Here's the truth that most people won't say out loud. You were never meant to be the real parent. You were meant to be the example. You were meant to be the grounding force, the one who shows up and shows what love looks like without ownership. You see, being not real actually frees you from the bullshit expectations of perfection. You're not locked into old dynamics or guilt-driven parenting. You don't carry the same history, and that is actually your power. Because while everyone else is busy managing wounds from the past, you get to model something different. You get to be the calm in the chaos. You get to lead with integrity when the other adults are still reacting from pain. And that is leadership. The world has confused parenting with possession. And I think that for a lot of people, we think that love means control. We think that family means being a unity. We often forget that blended families aren't meant to look normal. They're meant to look redefined. They're meant to be challenging the systems that made us believe that biology equals connection. So no, you're not the real parent. And thank God for that. Because if you were, you'd probably be trapped in the same patterns, the same pain and the same guilt that's keeping everyone else in the world stuck. You get to bring fresh energy. You get to show them what emotional safety looks like when it's not transactional. You get to love freely and not out of obligation, but out of choice. And that's why you matter, because your presence isn't built on blood, it's built on fucking bravery. You said yes to a role that comes with absolutely no rule book. No guarantees. It doesn't come with any instant validation. I'm opening up the mic for If I'm Honest, a new space on the Step Parent Podcast where step parents can finally speak their truth, raw, unfiltered, and completely anonymous. You do not need to be polished. You just need to be real. Record your story. I'll listen and share it on the podcast. Because when one of us gets honest, it gives everyone else the permission to do the same. You said yes, knowing that you might give more than you'll ever give back. And you keep saying yes, even when it's hard. You matter because you are the quiet disruptor, the one showing that family can be formed through choice, not just DNA. You matter because your consistency speaks louder than your title ever could. You matter because the way that you love in the background will one day become the memory they hold when they need to understand what love actually looks like. And yeah, sometimes it's messy. Sometimes that can be really, really painful. And sometimes you question if you belong here. But belonging doesn't come from labels, it comes from alignment. And if your actions are rooted in integrity, patience, and truth, then you belong right here, exactly as you are. You're not a placeholder. You're not the extra. You're the stabilizer in a world that's often chaotic and unpredictable. You're the emotional scaffolding holding up a system that would collapse without quiet strength. You're teaching those kids in your life, your stepkids, what real leadership looks like, not the kind that demands power, but the kind that earns it through presence. I want you to really hear this next part. You don't need to fight for a title to prove your worth. You already hold the influence that shapes the future. Your love doesn't need a label or for it to leave a mark. And your impact won't always be seen right now. It's going to be felt years from now when they finally understand what you've been building. So when you feel invisible, when you feel dismissed, when you hear those words, you're not my real parent, I need you to take a breath because they're right. You're not their real parent. You're something different. You're the bridge between worlds. You are the emotional translator in a family that speaks 5 different languages. You're the safe space that they didn't know that they needed. And that's the truth that people don't want to admit. real doesn't actually mean biological. It means impactful. It means present. It means showing up when you didn't have to. So stop trying to prove to people who will never understand what it takes to do what you do. Stop shrinking yourself to make everyone else in your life, everyone else in your world feel comfortable. Stop carrying the guilt that doesn't belong to you. You're not here to be a replacement. You are here to be a revelation, a reminder that love is a choice and you keep choosing it even when it costs comfort. That, I think it's really important that you do know that you're not their real parent. And that's exactly why you matter, because your kind of love changes the way that people heal. That includes kids. Your kind of leadership changes what family means. And your kind of presence, that quiet, patient, unwavering love, changes lives. So don't dim it. Stop watering it down. Stop apologizing for taking up space in a family that wouldn't function the same without you. You're not their real parent. No, you're their anchor. You're their mirror. You're the lesson they'll carry long after the noise fades. And that is real enough for me. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please share with a step parent or a blended family that you know might need to hear a conversation just like this one.